Welcome back. In our previous video, we walked through 3 steps to take React systems from concepts to production on AWS. Today, we are diving deeper into the cost comparison of these 3 steps. We will explore how different factors like document size, number of users, and query volume impact the final cost, which includes both the infrastructures and AI-related expenses. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of what drives the cost in your RAG implementations and how you can optimize these expenses as you scale. On your screen, as you can see, we have divided the 3 approaches vertically, and on the left side, you have the different factors that are impacting the cost. Then we have broken down the cost with respect to the infrastructures, and secondly, the AI cost. All right, so to give you an example, for the step 1, which is the Bedrock knowledge base, we have 10 documents, and the size of each document is 15 megabytes. And that converts into a 3.75 million tokens. The number of users that we have included for this particular step is 2. The queries that each person is making around 50, and then the query size. So we have mentioned that each user makes a query of input tokens of 200 and the output tokens of 800. Right, and that converts the number of users multiplied by queries multiplied by the input tokens, and this is what you come up per day. All right. Similarly, you can see the step 2. We have scaled the documents to 1,000. We have increased the size of the documents. We also increased the number of users, test users to 100, and the number of queries to 75. And this converts into a different input and output token sizes. And lastly, on the production environment, we have considered around 25,000 documents. Each document of the size 30 megabytes. That converts into a 7.5 million tokens for each document. And number of users we have used as a 2,000. And number of queries that each user is making 100, and that converts into this like 1.2 billion input tokens and 4.48. Okay, that's 4.8 billion tokens for the output. All right, so that's the different factors that we have. Now let's see how an infrastructure cost component changes with respect to these different factors that we have. So on the infrastructure cost side, for the step 1, as you can see, we do not have a much cost, like the number of costs like for the storage is just 0.01 on S3. In the step 2, when you are running your RAG systems in the proof of concept, the infrastructure cost is still very less, like it's a couple of dollars. On the other side, like when you are running, when you are using a production grade, highly available vector store, in our example, we are using the open source serverless. The cost for your infrastructure comes around $756.66, right? So that's we have seen an infrastructure cost with respect to the different parameters, different factors that we have. Now let's see the impact of these different factors on the AI cost. Okay, just to demonstrate what we have here, we are using the Amazon Bedrock model for embeddings. This is 1024 dimensions, and this is what it has been mentioned. And we are also using the full byte. We are not using any quantizations here, so we are using the 4 bytes, which comes around 4096 bytes to store one vector. We are chunking the size into a 512. So we are breaking down the documents into 512 tokens. Also, The embedding model cost is mentioned here is 0.02. So to embed the documents that we had earlier, as you can see, the cost for embedding is mentioned over here. So there is not much cost on the step one, but the POC, you have around $100, which converts to which is essentially actually processing these many. So the cost for the step two for embedding all the vectors is $100, because you have around 1,000 documents of 20 megabytes each, and this is what it has been mentioned is 100 megabytes. However, when the document scales to a 25,000 with 7.5 million tokens each, the cost comes around 3,750. All right, so that's only the embedding a document into your vector store with this particular configurations of dimensions and the chunk size. And we are using the Titan V2. All right, now let's go to the inference aspect of the systems, because we also mentioned that each user makes a query to our RAG system. So the queries are different, the size of the query is different, and the number of tokens that will be sent as an input and output will vary based on the approach or the implementations. So we have 3 implementations, and all 3 implementation uses the 3 different input and output token size. And now let's convert that input and output token size using the Claude models, the Anthropic Sonnet 3.5, which if you want to process 1 million tokens, it costs around $3, and output token is $15. So converting this number of tokens, these input tokens that we have into to process that input token, this is the cost you're gonna have with the Anthropic Sonnet. The output token is gonna cost you $18. Adding them up, it comes around $18, almost like a $19 for our first implementations, which is the no-code kind of implementations where you directly chat with your documents. The second implementations of the POC, the input is going to cost you $202.50 to process 67.5 million tokens, and to process 270 million output tokens, the Anthropic Claude gonna cost you around $4,050, which total comes around $4,352. As you can see, we were going from 2 users to 100 users. Okay, that is the only difference which made, and each user was making a different 75 queries, and that's being reflected into the AI cost. Now we are scaling this system into a production grade. Now let's see how on the production grade implementation this cost varies. So now we have a number of users are 2,000, and each user is making 100 queries per day. This comes around, so this is the cost for 1 month. So it's like monthly cost, like how many tokens will be processed by your LLMs in input and output. So this is the monthly cost, and for this monthly cost, to process this much amount of tokens with Anthropic Sonnet 3.5, the input tokens will cost you around $3,600. However, your output cost is blowing up, is $72,000 just for 2,000 users making these many queries and processing these many tokens. All right, so as you can see, the final cost comes around $80,000 on AI side. And remember, this cost, what we are talking here, we are not including the data transfer cost. We are also only covering the RAG components that we will be utilizing. We have used a fixed chunking of each record that we have. We are not using any quantizations. That's the reason we have a 4 bytes that we are using. And we haven't done any further optimizations. So the implementations 1 runs for half a month, which is 2 weeks. The implementation 2 runs for 6 weeks, which is 1.5 months. And the implementation 3, which is in production, runs like 24/7. So we have considered as a monthly cost. The total cost that you are seeing is based on this runtime of each individual implementations. Understanding the cost dynamics at each stage of your RAG systems is crucial to manage your expenses effectively. As we have seen, factors like document size, number of users, and query volume all play a significant role in determining the final cost, impacting both infrastructures and AI-related expenses. By carefully monitoring and optimizing these factors as you move from testing to a full productions, you can ensure that your RAG systems not only performs well, but does so in a cost-effective manner. Disclaimer. Please note that the costs discussed here do not include data transfer expenses. This analysis focuses only on the core RAG components with fixed chunking and does not count for any quantizations or optimization techniques that could further affect or reduce the cost. So you can see how you can build a comprehensive RAG solutions for business on AWS. It's not only faster, but much more reliable. However, if you are busy and want to implement this stack in your business and you don't want to spend a lot of time in building and testing, then we might have something for you.